Hello again and welcome back to Knox Asian Recipes. Today we're going to do tofu skin, also known as bean curd skin, do pi in Mandarin. You can get this one in Asian grocery stores fairly readily, but we like to make our own at home from our non-GMO soybeans, which we're lucky enough to get. So let's take 500 grams of soybeans. Let's remove the debris. Then we're going to rinse the beans and continue to remove the debris a few times. When we have the beans relatively clean, let's place them in a strainer so we can give them a final rinse, make sure they're good and clean. And the beans, when they're clean then, we're going to want to soak them. We're in a warm climate, so we can soak for only about 8 to 10 hours, but if you're in a colder place, you'll need to soak for more than 12 hours probably. Once the beans are soaked, we're ready to remove the hulls. We do this just by squeezing the beans between our fingers and rubbing them with our hands. Now we're going to blend the beans, so let's take the beans and place in our blender a little bit more than half a blender full, and then we're going to want to cover them up with water so we can blend them for a couple or a few minutes until they're smooth and frothy. We can blender the beans and then we can blender the pulp as well 1 or 2 more times to increase the yield of the milk. But in any case, once you have blended the beans until they're smooth and frothy, then you need to filter them out. We use some Malaysian tea strainer, which is a fine cloth, kind of like a t-shirt texture, to separate the milk from the okara. And we get our pot of milk here, all filtered, and we're ready to cook the milk. When we begin to cook the milk, we're going to see that foam forms on the top, so let's remove some of the excess foam with a strainer. And as we're cooking the milk on medium heat, then we're going to want to stir frequently. Soy milk can boil over quite easily, and we're going to boil it or heat it up to about 200 degrees, not quite boiling. We're preparing a place to harvest the tofu skins. This is just a shallow baking pan placed inside of a steamer that we're going to warm it up, leave it warming. So our milk we're going to be placing in this pan, and this allows the surface of the milk to cool down, and then it's going to form a skin. We also remove any excess foam from the milk when we begin this process. And we continue this until we've harvested quite a bit of skin. We use a chopstick to separate the skin from the side of the pan, the edge of the pan. Then once we've separated the skin on the top of the pan, we can take it up with our hands as well. And so we're going to want to repeat this, and as we get the skins, then we're draining them on a chopstick to let them get relatively dry. And then we're going to place them on a rack. So as we're taking out the skins, we're adding more milk into the pan and continually allowing the surface of the milk to cool. Continue to harvest all the tofu skin that you can until you've placed all your milk in the pan and no more skins are forming on the top of it. So here's our skins drying on the rack. We're going to let them dry on the rack for about 2 or 3 days until the moisture content is down and they feel crispy and toasty. You could probably store them at room temperature like commercial tofu skins, but we like to put them in the refrigerator anyway, just to make sure that we don't get any mold issues on them in the future. Tofu skins are quite versatile and you can use for many different recipes. in the future. If you like this video, don't forget to comment and share, and better yet, subscribe. Thank you. We'll see you in the future and teach you about recipes for using tofu skins.